Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, I'm very, very worried about the state of Shona Robinson's mind. I think she actually needs to get serious psychiatric professional help. It's the only explanation. She was on to TV this morning and she opened her big mouth and she said something which is sheer lunacy. You absolutely have to worry about her sanity because either she believes it, in which case she is completely delusional. She thinks it might be true because she likes to put a spin on everything she says, but she knows it isn't really true, in which case she could be semi-psychotic. Or, of course, the fact is she could just be a woman with an IQ of 86 who doesn't understand the world around her. Could be a mixture of all three, of course, but you have to wonder, and I do think she does need to be examined. She's certainly not fit to be a senior minister of state, and indeed a representative of people at all, or indeed to be allowed out on her own without adult supervision. She needs to be in somewhere secure and safe, where she can be looked after and where she won't cause a danger to herself or other people. She is that far gone. The mind is gone, and it's a very sad thing to see. Because this woman has come out today and said something that you just won't believe. Let's have a look. So, woeful Shona Robison claims Scots, are you ready for this? Pay more to get better services, as she hints at tax hell for the middle classes. She thinks that she's good and virtuous by overtaxing Scottish people more than anyone else in the whole of Britain, and that not only is that good, but that they get better services for it. Will someone please call an ambulance, pick her up, take her to a mental institution and give her a thorough examination over the course of the next few years? She needs to be on something stronger because whatever antipsychotics she's taking ain't cutting it. Now we'll go in and have a look at this, but before we do, may I ask that anyone who's a regular viewer who's yet to subscribe, please do so. Love to get to 9,000 for Christmas. We've only got 300 on to go at the time of doing this, and so just a few hits and we can move that up there and hit that 9,000 target for Christmas. Be a brilliant Christmas present. So if you are someone who watches a lot and you haven't hit subscribe, and it's about 65% of you, do please do so. It really massively helps get the message out. Thank you. Anyway, the Scottish Government's Finance Secretary claimed that those who make more will need to pay more to keep free services like tuition and prescriptions, and that this will make Scotland a good place to live despite higher taxes. Delusional. How is it free if you're taxing people? It's free for people who don't work, but the people who do work are paying and subsidising them. And so what happens is this. You put the taxes up on the people who are currently paying the taxes. They leave. The bill doesn't go down because the people tending to leave tend to have private medicine. So you've still got all this and you've got no tax base now. But also, I've got to take issue with the word better services. You've got the longest waiting list in the NHS. You have people waiting 15 hours on a stretcher in an ambulance. You've got massive underfunding in the NHS. You've got massive recruitment problems in the NHS. You've got massive retention problems in the NHS. You've got the worst cancer survival rate in the NHS. You've got massive, massive problems with, mental health. The worst mental health. Not just in the UK here, probably in Europe. You've got the worst substance abuse deaths. You've got the highest, or one of, not the actual highest, but one of the highest rates of alcoholism. You've got one of the lowest life expectancy rates. You've got schools falling apart. You've got schools massively underfunded. You've got teacher retention problems. You've got societal problems where you can't keep policemen. You're actually making police redundant. Police aren't responding to crimes anymore. You've got even more cuts coming that way. Police are out now looking to close 29 different police stations across the country. Your chief of police is a thief. You've got ministers who are thieves and liars, who are incapable of delivering their tasks. You've got transport problems coming out of the cahooties. Your communication system's down. Tell me, Shona, where's the value for money? Where's the better services? Point to one thing in Scotland that is the best of any of the 4 home nations. One. Name one. Because I can't think of one. And now you're taxing people, and you're about to tax the people who pay for all this, the middle classes, even more. And that will drive them out. Oh my God. This woman is so stupid and completely off her fucking hinges. This woman is absolutely bonkers. She thinks that what she's doing is good and that it will get better when she taxes more. She's out to lunch, isn't she? Any woeful Shona Robison refused to confirm or deny reports that she'll be hiking up income tax for the middle class. And by refusing to deny it means yes, she will, because we know how these people think. She did tell the BBC Scotland show that the decisions that we've made previously have been based on those with a broader shoulders of paying a bit more. But it isn't paying a bit more. It's paying a lot more. And here's the thing. It's actually going to be paying a lot less because they will do the old skedaddle down southwards. She says in the social contract, of course, that means that for additional tax some people pay, they get free tuition, free prescriptions and better childcare. Well, they don't though, do they? They don't. Because the people who are paying this generally tend to have private insurance that they're paying for their hospital needs, for their education needs and prescriptions. That's all private. So they're not even, you're taxing them. They're not even benefiting from the NHS. Full of shit, isn't she? She said, I don't accept that. She said, I think people in Scotland will recognise if they lived elsewhere, they would not get access to a better childcare system. Why? Why would you say that? Because it's blatantly not true. And as for after childcare and you have to send them to schools, it's the worst education. Third world levels of education in crumbling schools where they're made of all this concrete stuff which you can't afford to fix. That's assuming you can even drive there across the roads that you can't afford to repair. It's a joke. Tory Glasgow councillor Thomas Kerr described her interview as woeful. He said that there was more spin than answers. He said the reality facing Scotland is that we're paying more to get less. The SNP are taxing hard work and aspiration, which is chasing investors away. That's unfair and unsustainable. And it absolutely is. And also they can sit there and go, oh, look at what we're doing, look at what we're doing. We're all wonderful, look at us. As they virtue signal and huff their own farts. Meanwhile, the entire country is going down the pan. There's no point having free childcare if the poor buggers are going to end up dying in a ditch filled with whatever chemicals they can get off the corner boys and where the police don't even exist to go and investigate their deaths. But that's not why the police are being run down, though, is it, Shona? No. The police are being run down and basically disbanded so that there's no one to police you. There's no one to investigate the SNP so that your organised criminal behaviour can go unpunished, uninvestigated and unanswered. But when the regime does finally come crashing down in 2 years' time, you and your likes will be on those private jets to non-extradition treaty countries with all the billions that you've stolen over the last few years. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Anyway, she also rode back on her boss's boast that the Scottish Government will fully fund the council tax freeze. Bada bing. So, it looks like old Alibaba may not be getting that council tax freeze after all. That'll make him look like a complete and utter prick, won't it? Oh, wait, too late. It'll make him look like a complete and utter prick again, won't it? Anyway, she insisted she'll decide how much struggling authorities will receive. So, regardless of whether, it's a council tax freeze, but they're only going to give them a few percent. When we saw earlier, Edinburgh wanted a 20% increase. Central government going to fund that? Central government can't afford to fund that. The Finance Secretary also claimed that the SNP executive had been absolutely transparent in the difficult decisions. Well, we know straight away that's a load of horse shit because she came out there today and she wouldn't answer the questions. Of course she can't. She's too thick. When you've got an IQ of 86 and someone asks you a question that means, you have to think about it, you don't know what to say. So you just change it and answer a completely different subject, look into the air, whistle, look like a rabbit in the headlights, and do anything other than actually answering the question, because you know either the answer is going to annoy people, or they don't like the answer, or the answer will put you out of a job. Or you don't know the answer, which is more likely with Shona though, isn't it? It's a bit thick, doesn't know the answer. It was pointed out to Miss Robison by the BBC Scotland Sunday Show host Martin Kessler that the huge public sector pay rises handed out would now result in job losses, and that she could not promise that there won't be compulsory redundancies to help reduce the bloated workforce. Let's watch as she doesn't answer this. She said, part of the problem we have is our budget and all of the devolved administration's budgets haven't been inflation proofed. So that has essentially reduced the Scottish Government spending power by about £1 billion. Let's take that as what it is. Complete and utter fucking bullshit. You've had billions from the government that you've not spent. Where the hell's that money gone to? You lying, thieving moron. Number one. Number two, yes it has. You've just had the biggest settlement in history. And you're still £1.5 billion in the hole because you can't stop wanking money away on shite like foreign embassies and spin doctors, you lying, thieving bint. Is that all you can do? Sit, lie, steal, spin, bullshit, lie more. You're thick, you can't admit you're thick, and you don't know the answer to very basic problems. Because when you've got room temperature IQ, tying your shoelace is a major problem. And that's where you are, Shona Robison. A woman who can barely operate a pencil. What hope does Scotland have with its finances? Jesus H, she is so stupid. And then she just lies and expects everyone to believe her lies. It's nothing to do with Westminster. It's you and 17 years of thievery, of criminality, of snidiness, of secrecy, and of organised crime. You're all lying, thieving wankers. That's the problem. And that's before you even get into the possibility that you're mass fucking murderers. Miss Geisler, or Mr. Geisler, highlighted that she was wrong to say you had to pay for public sector pay rises, as the government chose to do this, with the SNP minister claiming it was to avoid industrial action and strikes which cost public services money, but the rises will now lead to jobs being lost. At a time when the NHS is already massively understaffed, more will have to go to pay for it. This is the SNP, thick as fucking custard. I'm angry and I'm sorry for my language, but it's what they do. I'm stopping and I'm coming up because this woman, honest to God, I would say give her some crayons, but make sure you don't give her a purple one. She eats them. Coming up. So there you go. What do you do? This woman thinks taxing more at a time when you're already overtaxed, taxing more will make things better. You've got the worst services of any home nation and the highest taxes of any home nation. I guarantee you tax more, it's going to get worse. Because it's the SNP and they can never accept, firstly, how stupid they are, secondly, how wrong they are, and third, how useless they are. There is zero talent, zero intelligence, zero ability to do their job. But they sit there and try and spin this bullshit to be true, that they are the greatest thing ever. They are the most destructive force, I think, ever in this country. And I'm going back to 1066. I think William the Conqueror coming to Britain in 1066 actually did more good than the bloody SNP. Unbelievable, isn't it? I'll stop. Thank you very much for watching, and I apologise about my rant, but sometimes they just drag it out of you with the sheer two-faced lying hypocrisy and the stupidity of very, very low IQ tits. Oh. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will calm down. Goodbye.